Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Cam, and welcome back to the Horror Movie Iceberg podcast. This is the show where myself and Russell Howell watch disturbing horror movies until we tap out. And we're back again, so we're not tapping out just yet, are we?
No, not yet. And we only have one more of these films left in this franchise, and we can put this baby to bed. So, looking forward to talking about the third Rec film.
In case you have not checked out the other two, we are deep into our Rec/quarantine retrospective. We only have one more Rec movie to cover, and then we'll be doing Quarantine 1 and 2, and then we will be done with that. But Rec 2 left me kind of cold. However, I gotta say, this is certainly a different direction, which I will give them props for, but we'll get into that. If you like the video, leave a like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, we'd appreciate a 5-star and a subscribe there as well. Greatly appreciate that. But let's get into Rec 3 Genesis.
Rec 3 Genesis.
This was directed by Paco Plaza, who was one of the directors of Rec and Rec 2 and would have a long career after Rec 3. And it was released in 2012, and it starred Leticia Dolera, Diego Martin, and Ismael Martinez, among others. And this is a stark departure from Rec 1 and 2, where it takes place on the same night in a building that is supposed to be on fire, but something else is in the building. This is a different setting. It takes place at a wedding, and the wedding is going on, and everyone's having a good time. And then the zombie apocalypse happens, smack dab in the middle of the wedding. So, went into this one completely blind, Russell. I had only seen the first Rec movie, and Rec 2 was just not for me. So I didn't watch a trailer, didn't see anything other than that. All I knew is the poster had the bride with the chainsaw. I'm like, oh, this is Rec? All right, I'm going to give it a chance, but I pass it to you first. What were your general thoughts?
Well, first off, I appreciated the fact that we actually had daylight. We had light. It wasn't so dark and gloomy. I did appreciate that. The color contrast actually was a fresh breath of air from the first two Recs, Quarantine, and all those other films. I actually liked this one a lot. I liked it a lot better than the second one. I thought the story was a lot more. You didn't have to try to fish to try to attach it to the first film. I appreciated that. I liked how they took it and they ran with it. They did their own thing with this one. You know what I mean? It didn't have to stay true to the original. And I appreciated that. So I actually really dug it.
I think the biggest compliment that I can give to this movie is that they did go that different route. At first, I didn't know what to think of it because it starts out with a DVD menu. I'm like, what? And then it turns out it's a DVD menu for someone's home movie. And you see the wedding, and all that. And no offense to weddings and all that, but I'm like, this is not grabbing me. It's not a dig on weddings. I was just not a particular fan of that decision. But then I want to say about the 20-minute mark when the zombie stuff happens, that's when things pick up. So it takes a while to get going, but I do appreciate, period at the end of the sentence on this one, they tried to do something different, and they start found footage, but then they sort of stop it. It's a bit of a weird decision, either go full found footage or don't, but I appreciated they didn't just do the same building with the same, like following a cop or another journalist or something like that. They went different, and I liked that.
Yeah, no, I like how they went completely their own way on this one. It wasn't one of the ones where we had to copy, cut and paste, try to follow suit. They were able to be a lot more creative in this film, I feel like, and I appreciate that. And like I said, I liked this a lot more than I did the second one. This one was it was entertaining. There really wasn't any slow parts. I dug the wedding part. That was fine. It was nice and nostalgic to see the DVD menu stuff when that was a thing. I just, like I said, I really did enjoy it. I don't think it really lagged too much. Again, the movie was too short to lag, but I do feel like they made a good choice, kind of breaking out of the building quarantine and trying to connect the dots to like try to like stay like continuity wise.
The movie's an hour and 20 minutes long, so I give them credit. They could have like stretched it to an hour 40, which that would have just been death.
Yeah,
But like they kept it an hour 20, they kept it short, and I did like that. I want to shout out the main star of the movie, Letitia Dolera, because I thought that she was the best part of the movie. Like
100%.
her whole arc with her husband and the ending, which I'll touch on a little later, I thought was great. And she it's a weird compliment, but she has a very expressive face. And
Yeah.
I thought that her face and like how her eyes just like reacted to everything going around. It's a severely underrated part of the movie, and I didn't think I'd be like, I like her face, but her face and her facial expressions were quite quite good.
Yeah, I'm reminded by like Samara Weaving. I get Samara Weaving vibes from her. She was fantastic though in the film. I like she is the silver lining in the film. But yeah, kind of what you said. I like the way they went. I do like the route. I mean, you obviously kind of know, you kind of have an idea where we're gonna go with this as it's going on. Shout out to the beginning opening credits, only 21 minutes into the film. So I'm glad
Yeah,
they waited forever for that.
that was a shock.
I was like,
When
what?
it happened, I'm like, what? Like
Yeah,
talk about bucking the trend there. Usually it's something like Christopher Nolan where you don't see the opening credits till the very end. Like you
yeah,
see the big old title screen, but no,
yeah.
it's like plopping it in like the middle of the movie. I
Mm.
appreciate the hustle of that.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I'm like, what? 21 minutes into the movie with the title screen. I'm like, okay, cool.
It's funny you bring up Samara Weaving because Samara Weaving was the star of one of my favorite horror movies of the past few years, Ready or Not.
Yeah,
And that is about the aftermath of a wedding. No zombies, it's about demonic stuff. But
yeah,
when you said Samara Weaving, I'm like, oh yeah, she was
yeah,
also in a movie where a wedding goes awry.
yeah.
Funny how that connection
Yeah,
worked.
was a completely but just like that female protagonist, like, I thought she was really great in that film. You know what I mean? I thought she was great. And then another really underrated horror film, You're Next, I really enjoy too.
Oh yeah, Your Next is brutal.
Yeah,
Like directed by Adam Wingard. Shout
yeah,
out to him. He did a
yeah,
great job. But just like I said, takes a bit to get going. About the 20 to 25-minute mark, it's when things start to really get good. The movie gets gory.
yeah,
It's not like the like Evil Dead 2013 where there's like a blood shower at the end, but there's
yeah,
definitely some parts where you can tell Paco Plaza has watched Evil Dead 2 at least once, considering the chainsaw and something that happens specifically to Letitia Dorada's character's hand. It could not have been a coincidence.
yeah. I mean, and even the kitchen cooking utensil too that they used, they had fun with it, and I appreciate that, and I like the fact that they did load up on like the blood and the gore. I think they were a little bit able, kind of like free reign to be able to do that and see it because it was like lighter. It was a lighter contrast on the screen. It wasn't dark, so you couldn't like get away with like if you do it like in like the first couple films, you really don't see much because it's dark the whole time. This one you can kind of see it and kind of have fun with it because of the fact of the lighting of the film. It's a lighter film. It's not as dark the whole entire film, you know?
It's light in terms of you can actually see what all is going on and not
Yeah.
just it's all in a contained apartment building.
Yeah. And I think that allows the film to breathe. No pun, like no, pun intended, obviously. It allows it to breathe a little bit more because it allows it to have a little bit more free reign, I guess, because it's not so confined to the building. You know what I mean? I think it's able to be kind of its own thing, which I appreciate.
And there's a part of me that at a certain point I was like, okay, not only has Paco Plaza seen Evil Dead more than once, but he's also watched Shaun of the Dead more than once because I won't say there's similarities in terms of like humor per se, but
Yeah.
what I will say is there's a couple gut-wrenching moments. Like Shaun of the Dead is secretly a pretty dark movie if you really think about it. I won't
Yeah.
This is not a Shaun of the Dead review, I promise you that. But the stuff with Shaun's mom, the stuff at the end there, I thought that was just one of the better parts of that movie. And then here, it's not the same thing, but I feel like there's a lot of Shaun of the Dead DNA in there where difficult choices have to be made, and the movie doesn't like cop itself out. There's hard choices that need to be made and are made to the movie's credit.
Yeah, because I thought as we were going near the end, I'm like, well, how are we going to do this now? Like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? And I do appreciate we took the chances to do what we do. Because this could have easily, you're thinking, okay, so they're both going to be not infected. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know where you're going with it. You know what I'm saying? But I do appreciate the where they went with that. I think it was different. I mean, it was good enough where I was like, well, they didn't cop out. They rolled with it. So, I do appreciate that as well.
There's definitely some stuff I wasn't a fan of. Like it gets very silly at points, and I'm like, okay, this is clearly like the stuff of Shaun of the Dead where it's the comedy part, but while that stuff's funny, this is just kind of random and not funny. It doesn't happen too often, or at least often enough to kill my enjoyment, but it just definitely noticeable at times.
Yeah, like the scenes with his friend and that Natalie. Like, I mean, that's not a big deal. Like, why do we need to follow that? I mean, that's kind of dumb. His friend trying to hook up with the one girl for the wedding. I think that's kind of stupid. We really don't need that in there. But like you said, I think they do it just to kind of throw something in there different, just to throw another like a storyline or something to break up the monotony of it. I guess I don't know.
And then going into the ending, and I guess I'll spoil the ending a little bit. It came out in 2012, so it's like past the statute of limitations there. But basically the couple get out of the not the hotel, but like the ballroom that their wedding is at. They see that like the zombie apocalypse is happening, and it basically reminds me of a lot of The Last of Us, where you see it and you're just like, okay, yeah, we're definitely like martial law is clearly in effect now. And then the ending of this movie I thought was pretty brutal, where she gets infected, they kiss, and then he gets infected. It's basically a choice of I would rather die a zombie with you than live without you. Call me a sap, but I loved that ending. I loved how they didn't chicken out with the whole like they survive, or like even go so far as to like the husband gets infected and she has to kill him, or vice versa. It's a very bold choice for them both to get infected and then they both die. Couldn't have seen that one coming, but I admire the balls.
Yeah, I mean, I was obviously on camp, whereas I wanted both to go away uninfected and happily ever after. But I know we weren't going to get that. And then as soon as, obviously she gets her hand bit, I'm like, well, shit, that's, now that's interesting now. But because we're, obviously we've already kind of opened the spoiling, we've opened the bandage on that. The other thing I thought was they already rectified it by the fact that he cut her arm off and didn't allow it to spread. So then I thought, okay, we're good, right? But then she starts coughing up blood, and that's where obviously we realize, oh crap, she is infected. So you really didn't need to cut her hand off. You should have done it quicker because you were busy trying to kiss her before you cut it off. If you were a little bit more quicker with it, I think you'd have been all right. But it is what it is. But it's one of those things where you. And like you said, it goes to where you're like, okay, so what now? She's infected now, and then he's carrying her out. I thought she was going to kind of nudge up to his neck and bite him. Is kind of where I was going, like as he was holding her, and she has her head like kind of on his like neck, like shoulder area. I thought she was going to bite him to infect him, and then they were going to kind of both go out like that, or both kind of escape. I don't know, But then obviously when they go through the taped door or the taped tunnel or whatever, she's infected, he's good, and then they share a kiss, and he becomes infected, both infected, and then pretty much like a Romeo and Juliet type thing. Our star-crossed lovers die, so that's pretty much it. But yeah, I like the fact that it's so separate from the first two films, though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. On my score, I'm going to give this a great rating. It's definitely got problems, but I think that I like that it's different. I like the main actress Letitia Dorada, and I liked the ending quite a bit. I'm
Yeah.
glad they went the different route. I'm glad they didn't just do the same thing or continue on with the priest who secretly knows what's going on in the building and like sneaks out like at the last minute. I'm glad they didn't do that. I'm glad they not a reboot, but like a different story, but like told in the Rec like universe, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm a bit disappointed that they didn't go all the way with the found footage of it, but it's not a big problem for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's forgivable, and it's easy to kind of like oversee. The other thing I was kind of curious about that they really didn't go into too much detail about, I wish they would have, is the whole fact of like the preaching sermon and them the infected being able to stop. So as he's reading from the Bible and scripture and stuff like that, it stops everybody in their tracks. You know what I mean? So now we have
Yeah.
something else. Now we have something else to kind of like go with, but why is that? Why does that stop these infected people from doing anything? It like locks them in place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and neither of us have seen Rec for Apocalypse yet.
Yeah.
So I can't necessarily say that it will find out in the next movie because I feel like, and just taking a look at the letterboxd, it looks like this is not necessarily a reboot, but it looks like it just doesn't continue the story from there, which I mean is a bit of a shame. But I mean, at the same time, you look at it, you go, okay, very clearly, like this is meant to be a one and done. So I appreciate the courage there.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where, so this fourth film is going to be pretty much like a Rec 3's then, I guess its own kind of thing, which, I mean, it could be a good thing because, obviously giving a film a little bit of creativity to do what it wants to do and not have to adhere to the guidelines, I guess, or follow suit in being a quarantine building. You have a lot more to play with. So I'm kind of interested and intrigued enough to see what we do with it because the third one was a lot better than the second one. So, I don't know. It'll be kind of interesting to see what we do with this.
But I pass it off to all of you. What did you think of Rec 3 if you have seen it? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to read what you have to say. And next time when we come back to the Iceberg, we'll be concluding the Rec movies by taking a look at Rec 4 Apocalypse. So that'll be in a couple weeks' time. But Russell, it's a privilege to do this with you every Friday. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, we do have a new episode. Notorious by Chance is going to be coming out within the next couple of days. We did record Honora, so here are our thoughts on the Best Picture winner. Also, we did the top 5 films so far in the 2025 season. Chance and I give our top 5s there. Also, we do our top 5 of most anticipated for the back end of 2025. So check that out. You guys can find us Notorious by Chance. We have a new poll that we put up. It was for sleeper hits. So we had My Big Fat Greek Wedding, Dirty Dancing, Napoleon Dynamite, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and Juno on the poll. And as of right now, it's Napoleon Dynamite, but a close right behind it is Dirty Dancing. So if you can, go ahead and vote and support the poll. We'd appreciate that. And you guys can find us Notorious by Chance on the YouTube channel too.
Yep, all those links will be down below. Go give them a subscribe over there. As far as this channel goes, next Friday, Russell and I will go back to the 1960s, and we'll be taking a look at Mario Bava's Black Sunday and a strange-sounding comedy called The Battle of the Sexes. So stay tuned for all of that. But for Russell, my name is Ryan Cam. We will see you all in the next one. Y'all take care.